A B.
Okay.
I give him a B. A simple B. This is not something that's getting ready to take them over the top. It's a weak division, okay, and it brings them even, as far as I'm concerned, with the Atlanta Falcons, right? And when you look at it, they got some young talent. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, obviously Kyle Pitts at the skill positions, but they got new head coaches. They got a new head coach in Raheem Morris.
Yep.
You know, interim there before, short term in Tampa as a head coach, decent defensive coordinator, actually better than decent defensive coordinator with the Rams.
He was very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
But it got new coordinators on both sides of the ball. Jimmy Lake has never been a defensive coordinator in the National Football League.
I assume Raheem will try to oversee that, but
well, yeah. Jimmy, from what I understand in talking to Raheem, Jimmy's going to call it. I asked Raheem that on my podcast, and knowing Raheem, I said, "Are you going to call it?" He said, "No, Jimmy's going to call it." So, so when you start looking at it, it's like, okay, because Kirk Cousins is in that NFC top 5 quarterback ranking, if you want to rank him. He's in there somewhere in that 5. That's not saying a lot because there's not a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFC as of right now.
They're all on the other side.
You got young ones, right? You got young Brock Purdy. You got young Jordan Love.
Yep.
You know, we don't know what's going to happen with Justin Fields. You got young in Carolina. So when you start to look at it, to pay, you need a quarterback. There's no question about it. Somebody's got to play quarterback. But to pay Kirk Cousins this type of money in a 2-year span to do what? Because you're not better than Dallas. You're not better than Philadelphia. You're not better than San Francisco.
Are you better than Tampa? That's my question.
I was going to get there.
Yeah.
Are you better than Tampa?
Yeah, good question.
So if you're just, are you better than Green Bay?
Good question.
Probably not better than Green Bay. So as I start to look at those things, I'm like...
Did you mention San Francisco?
I said San Francisco.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I said San Francisco.
Okay.
And the Rams, they just always... Sean McVay just knows how to win football games.
Listen, Matthew Stafford can still spin the football. I don't care what you say.
So when I look at this and I say to myself that you're giving a guy $100 million, you got to pay somebody at the quarterback position.
You do.
But one playoff game and a win? You always talk about playoffs, right? And the success rate of playoff. Dude got one playoff win. Been in the league forever. I mean, it's the truth.
Oh, it's funny.
It's funny, and when you never, and that was in 2019 in a wild card game against the Saints in overtime.
Yeah.
So when you talk about money, and I'm never one to look at people's money. It's not my money. I don't care. I'm not counting anybody's money, but I'm gonna count this one. By the time this thing is over, Kirk Cousins will have made $411 million of gross money for one playoff win. By the time his deal is up in Atlanta.
Unless he goes and wins one for the Atlanta Falcons.
Unless he goes and wins, I'm assuming he doesn't.
Okay. I am
I'm
too.
just assuming that doesn't. That makes him 4th in the history of the National Football League. Now, some people will pass him over time. Joe Burrows and Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott, they'll pass him. But as it stands right now, $411 million, man, for one playoff. I don't get it. But hey, hats off to him. If he can get it, man.
Get it.
Get it.
All right. At the risk of coming across this morning as the grouch who stole Christmas, because this is Christmas morning for a lot of NFL fans, I gave the Saquon to Philadelphia trade a C-. You gave it an A.
But you don't like him.
Okay. And I'll give this a B-. Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. And yet, I'm not going to condemn the Falcons, because they're desperate for a quarterback, as we know. They tried the Desmond Ridder experiment, and it failed miserably, and it cost Arthur Smith his job. It's why Raheem had a great quote the other day: if we'd had better quarterback play, I wouldn't be standing here. He wouldn't have been on your podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to do something. This is just me. I think Baker Mayfield is better than Kirk Cousins. I just like his fire, desire. I just like his energy. I like his clutchness. I like how he can ignite a whole football team around him.
And there's not, I don't disagree with you on that.
Okay, so Baker stayed home, and I do think he took something of a hometown discount because he loves it there, and they do love him there. So Baker got $30 million.
Yeah, this number,
yes.
probably was Baker's number.
Okay,
from Atlanta.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But basically, if you boil this one down, if we say $100 million guaranteed, and you're kind of looking at it as 2 years to see what happens.
It's a 2-year deal.
Okay, so it's 50 and 50.
Yeah.
Let's just call it $50 million a year. Baker got $30 million.
Yeah.
Okay, boy, you're getting up there toward double what Baker got. So I thought that Arthur Blank might just say, you know what? I'm going to go get that kid Baker Mayfield. I'm going to sting Tampa, and I'm going to bring him here.
I think I think they tried to talk to Baker, but Baker wanted to stay home. And I told you, Skip, that's where he should stay.
And you were right about that. And
he needs to stay where they know him.
I agreed with your premise was just don't take the money and run, because you're going to go into a whole new world and a new situation with new pressure, new teammates, and a new coordinator and a new head coach. He got to pick that Liam Cohen to be his new coordinator in place of Canales. So it's all good. And they got Mike Evans done in Tampa. And I'm still shocked by it, because Mike Evans had a career year last year, and I was just afraid he would hit the open market and hit the lottery.
But he could have hit the open market, but he's comfortable.
He's comfortable, and so is Baker. And they are comfortable together.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a joint. You stay, I stay, you stay, you want to stay? Yeah, let's both stay. And they both probably gave Tampa a little bit of a hometown discount.
Mike could have probably got a little bit more on the open market, and Baker probably could have got a little bit more on the open market. The problem with Baker going somewhere else is, much like you just said, Skip, you going into a new environment, new situation. Everything is so new. Yeah. Where although Dave Canales is now in Carolina, there's still people in that building and the head coach that knows your do's and your don'ts. There's still Bruce Arians that's in that building that knows your do's and your don'ts.
He does.
So stay there.
And listen.
Take a little less money.
Todd Bowles is
and get your career going.
Todd Bowles is a stud. He's just a stud. He's got character. He's got stature. He's a rock. And Baker loved him, and vice versa.
And Baker's still young, Skip.
He is.
Like I said to you before, his deal is a 2-year deal, too.
Okay.
Okay? And he can hit. He's either going to hit again or he's not going to hit again.
Okay. You got it. He'll hit again. He's in a good spot. He's finally found his sweet spot. Now, back to your first point. I've said it before, and I'm going to triple down on this. Kirk Cousins is the most overpaid player in the history of football, and it ain't even close. This was a 4th-round draft choice who has played the game, as in the negotiating game, the boardroom game, better than anybody who ever came down the pike, because Kirk Cousins and his agent have genius at playing the game, of being in the right place at the rightest time.
Can't fault him for that.
Again and again and again.
Can't fault him for that.
He got the 2 big tags in Washington before he left. He got the $84 million guaranteed to go to Minnesota. He re-upped in Minnesota for another big guarantee. Then went to $35 million. And look at him now. He arrived just as the Atlanta Falcons said, we are desperate. We plunge on Kurt, as they used to call him, his former GM called him in Washington, Kirk Cousins.
But the quarterback market and free agency was weak this year.
It was. That's called being right place, right
place at the right time. Essentially, he probably was the best free agent quarterback that had the most experience that was available.
Unless you want to talk Russ, as in Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but Russ is different. Though. Okay. Russ is looking to win in a certain situation.
That is true. Okay. 400. I had 412, but I'll use your number. 411.
411.6.
Okay. I'm going to go to 412.
So your Vanderbilt education didn't help you.
No. All right. Whatever. $412 million. I'm going to remind everybody that in 23 years of playing football, Tom Brady made $333 million.
Now he took,
but he took a few hometown discounts along the trail,
somewhere
here and there, but 333 versus 412 with 7 Super Bowls and 10 appearances, versus, to your point, 1 playoff win and 3 losses, and
right place at the right time.
Okay, of those 3 losses, 2 of them were suffered at home. 2 of them were suffered. One was to Aaron Rodgers in Washington, but the other one was to the quarterback you love the most, Daniel Jones, who you don't even think should be a quarterback, beat Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. And I'm just going to double down on the points that you made as we open this show. I watched Andy Dalton go up there for my Cowboys as the quote-unquote backup quarterback and shellac him. I watched Cooper Rush in his first NFL start go up there and beat him at the buzzer. I watched Dak Prescott go up there and hang 40 on him and wipe him out, wipe him off the face of his field in Minneapolis and Minnesota.
You just don't understand it.
I don't, I've never got him because he looks like a little guy out there whose helmet's too big. His helmet always looks too big for his body. He looks like an alien out there with that weird big helmet on. Well, it's just the weirdest
look.
look.
Like an alien, man.
He does. And so I look at his overall starting record in the NFL. He's 76, 67, and 2. So he's just barely above 500.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? Wait, $412 guaranteed $1 million that you're getting? What caused this? Well, it's because he's pretty good. He's just good enough year after year to give you false hope. Because you look at the stats and you say, that was like last year. He went on a little bit of a roll before he tore his Achilles. God bless him. And he's been very durable until that. And that's, as you know, it's like the most mysterious injury in sports.
He pulled out a big victory in Buffalo
He did.
a couple years ago, a couple seasons ago.
Yep. Okay.
So, I mean, right place at the right time.
I guess, but I look at this and I keep saying, how do you keep pulling this off? And now come back to Atlanta. You can't tell me, Mr. Oddsmakers, that just because Kirk Cousins goes and joins that young, skilled talent that you reiterated on offense, and they have
London and company,
and they have 3 former first-round picks in their offensive line, so it should be pretty good.
They got a nice defense.
They got a nice defense, and they have
but the odds makers are talking about the division, Skip.
Okay, they're talking about the division.
The division's not strong. Okay. Carolina is blah. The Saints, blah.
Yeah,
and then all you got is Baker. And now, mind you, they were 9-8 last year and won the division.
Yeah.
And if Atlanta was in it all the way to the end. They were to the I want to say to the second to last week before the end of the year, they was in it.
They were in it.
If they had any quarterback play at all, they probably win the division.
Okay, and Baker went in there and beat them at the buzzer with a late touchdown pass, 36 seconds left to Cade Otton. And Baker went to Minnesota and beat Kirk Cousins to set the tone for the year in game number 1. And Baker went to New Orleans in week 4 and shellacked them.
But no one is saying Baker doesn't deserve more money. He earned more money. The problem that I've always had is he has to stay put. You can't, at this age that he's at, he can't keep chasing the money because at the end of the day, he's going to hit pay dirt in Tampa or he's not, okay? He has a better chance of succeeding in Tampa with people that know him and around him than it is with a whole new regime in Atlanta trying to figure it out for an extra buck.
Yeah. And listen, Baker paid the price for this, but he got paid a handsome price for all those progressive commercials he did.
Oh, he's fine as far as economics.
Yeah, my wife Ernestine always says somebody who's like that Flo in the progressive commercials, like she's set for life. Well, Baker may be set for life just on the money he made from progressive because they were relentless.
I want him to be set for life with his career to get back on track.
Well, my point is,
to chase something.
I don't think the money is the object. I think he's been really good. He's made a lot of money off the field. So
but you just can't understand Kirk Cousins.
Well,
it's the marketplace, man.
Okay, all right, and yet I can't condemn Atlanta for doing this because I'd probably sit there and do it too.
But see, if I'm in this situation, I'm gonna be realistic. I'm not. You got to spend it on somebody.
You just do.
There was not the quarterbacks available out there. Now, would I have traded for Justin Fields if Chicago was willing to give him up? Most likely I would have, opposed to going to get a Kirk Cousins.
That's a fair point.
I probably would have tried to wrestle away Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears, depending on the price. Now I look at Justin Fields on a shorter-term deal where it's only going to cost me roughly about $2.7, $2.8 million, and then I can pick his fifth-year option up. Now I'm spending, I don't know, $30 million in 2 years opposed to $100 million in 2 years. And if Justin Fields, which I think with everything around him, if you had Justin Fields, you're going to win you're going to win the division most likely.
Yeah.
You're going to be right there at the top of that division. You're going to be right there at the top of the division with Kirk Cousins. You're not going beyond that with Kirk Cousins, and you probably wouldn't. Who knows? You probably could have potentially gone beyond that with Justin Fields at the quarterback. The problem that you have is you got San Francisco in your way, Dallas in your way, Philadelphia in your way, Green Bay in your way, as the 4 teams, in my opinion, that's at the top in the NFC.
Yeah.
That's your problem. But you just paid a quarterback that's going to give you 2 years, and that's 2 years of whatever, because you're not winning the Super Bowl. It's just not happening.
I did like the fit of Justin Fields going home to Atlanta.
Yes.
I think it would have, listen, the fan base would have been on fire for that.
It would have been fun, a young, exciting team.
Yeah.
To see him with those skill set players around him. Maybe Atlanta picked up the phone, and maybe Chicago said no. I don't know.
And maybe Chicago said, we'll do it for a first. We want your first. And maybe they just said, that's too rich for our blood, because you don't have to pay anything for Kirk Cousins except the salary. You don't have to trade for him.
But you're stuck in mud for 2 years.
You're stuck in mud. I agree. And Kirk Cousins is laughing all the way to his bank.
And I'm happy for him. It's good for him.
All right. Way to go, Kirk, or Kurt, whichever you are. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.